Hey everyone, welcome back. It is the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by Deck Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. And we are very, very pleased to be part of the Variety Sports Network. And of course, the show comes to you from the Bradshaw Bourbon Studio. And welcome in everyone. And guys, I see Ben's eating, Ian's drinking, and Scarps looks like a red.
Scarps is drinking out of a Solo cup.
Is that a red Solo cup?
Yeah, where have you been? I've been drinking out of a red Solo cup for like 3 months now.
Fuck, I don't know. I'm old. I can't keep track of anything. Anyway, so tonight we hope to have a little fun. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on at OTAs and everything. There's a couple of things to talk about, but also a little on James Daniels and a few other things. But then we'll kind of turn it over to the viewers tonight. We're going to ask the viewers to fire off any questions they have. And we have no filters here on this program. And it looks like Freak's in, so therefore the filter is definitely off.
Hey, Big Ben's Burner. We've missed you.
Burner's back.
Yeah,
Hey.
We've been thinking about you, man.
Yes,
Hope you're doing
sir.
well.
Man.
Absolutely, Burner. Welcome back.
Oh,
good
man.
to
What
see
a
you.
fucking... Yeah, bro.
The Meals on Wheels delivery. Aaron, come on now. I mean, there's a reason Ohio only has 4 letters, buddy. Come on.
Wow.
Yeah, let's not get carried away here. Yeah, no, we appreciate you, Burner. Great to see you, man. Glad you're here. And look, it's OTA time. TJ Watt, I mean, he takes it so seriously. He and his wife went to Austria. So it just kind of tells you, where these things rank for some of the veteran players. But all in all, lots of good things going on. And I'm going to start. I was going to start with Ben, but he's got a mouthful of something there. So Ian, I'll bounce this to you. What's going on with James Daniels? Are we missing something? Because I thought he has played pretty well.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. He's played well. He's young. He's on a relatively inexpensive contract currently as far as the guard market goes. He was a guy I thought they would have made a move to sign this offseason, but maybe it's that whole thinking of, we signed these guys to run I don't even want to call it power running game. I'll call it a clueless running game because Matt Canada didn't know what his scheme was. And Arthur Smith runs his own blocking scheme. It's zone blocking all day. And they didn't extend or they didn't pick up Najee's 5th-year option.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they're just not sure kind of how the current guys on the roster are going to fit with what Arthur Smith wants to do. And maybe it's more of a, let's see if he can move his feet, which I think he can, based on what we've seen from him in the past, but Let's see how he fits in this system and in this scheme. The people out there on Twitter saying things like, they love Mason McCormick because they drafted him in the 4th round. So that's why they're letting James, there's no way a 4th round pick from an FCS school is their, idea of why they're not going to re-sign a veteran lineman who has been very solid for them. I think McCormick may be able to compete with Herbig for a backup spot, but he's not starting this year. He's probably not starting next year. If he's starting next year, we're probably in trouble. Maybe we'll see. But nevertheless, it's definitely at least to me, I think it's much more of a, let's see how these guys fit in Arthur Smith's offense, or if Arthur Smith's offense even works, and then we'll kind of make decisions on them going forward.
I think it's a lot simpler than that.
Explain.
The top guards in the league are making $15-16 million a year. And they just decided they didn't want to invest that much in the guard position, and they just drafted one that they think could be a guy. They've got Nate Herbig. It's like, well, actually, this is Nate Herbig's last year of a contract too.
It is.
He
might be the guy I'm not really about. I don't view him as a long-term starter.
They're trying not to spend a lot of money. They're projecting out what those costs are going to be, and they're going, well, let's spend less here. They're spending a lot on defense because they have a lot of experience over there.
Right.
They just drafted 2 first-round tackles. Those guys are going to be expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily agree with the thinking here because this guy is 26 years old. He's played well. Giving up 1 sack in 2 years. It plays pretty well in the run game. He's been really solid for him. It's
you could argue he's been a good leader too. I mean, he's been tasked with a lot on that offensive line.
Yeah, and I'm surprised by it, but by the same token, I think there's probably foundational reasoning behind it. It's not just something they went into willy-nilly. Do I think that Mason McCormick is the plug-and-play guard of the future? No, that's ridiculous. It's a long, long way, even going from a Big 5 conference school to playing in the NFL. Going from an FCS school to play in the NFL. I mean, we talked about it on this show. The guys that McCormick was bashing the shit out of, and all those highlight tapes from South Dakota State, he outweighs by 75 pounds. Everybody in the NFL is good.
Right. Big.
He's not going to have an easy time. Somebody, and I don't want to embarrass him because I think that he's trying. He's a good guy, but he's trying to believe something. He's trying to fit a take into what he wants to believe, but he was trying to convince people on Twitter that they were going to trade James Daniels this year. I'm like, no, they're fucking not. Jesus, man.
Well,
where do you get this crap? That's not happening.
Okay, I'll bite. Is there a scenario there where that could happen if Mason McCormick just comes out of nowhere and all of a sudden does amazing? Sure, there could be, but I don't think anybody buys
he'd
that.
he would absolutely have to destroy people in camp, and on top of that, show enough presence of mind to have Tomlin's full confidence. And Tomlin doesn't like rookies; he likes vets.
No, he does not.
I just don't see it.
Scarps, a question for you from the PR standpoint. James Daniel kind of came out and said, well, they're not going to negotiate with me. So I'm not really going to talk about it. I mean, do you get a heads up? How do the Steelers do something like that? I mean, do they come to you and say, hey, James might be saying something today because we're not going to negotiate? I mean, how does something like that work? Because you guys don't want to get caught off guard with that, do you?
No, and whatever. I've been gone long enough, and I have enough people on Twitter telling me that I'm a whatever disgruntled employee.
But you are. You're just a fucking hater. No, and you're just a hater, Scarf.
No, and that whatever, that's fine. But yes, we anticipated those things, and we would go around to those players, regardless if they were a starter or not, and say, hey, just a heads up. They're more than likely going to ask you about your contract situation. And we recommend that you say that those conversations are between my agent and the Steelers.
Yep.
I would love to continue to be a Steeler. I was drafted here or I was signed here. I love my teammates. I love the city. We would feed them talking points. Now, I'm not saying that they didn't tell James Daniels that. Maybe James Daniels said, I'm a little pissed off that they told me this. And it didn't sound like he had sort of any anger or animosity. I think
he sounded fine.
Yeah, I think he was just answering the question.
Yep.
But the one thing that we always tried to tell these guys, and I've noticed it the longer I'm away from the team. And that's not to say we didn't have issues, because we had plenty of issues when we were there. But, when you start saying things, you can create a bigger story than what was already there. Because when you're vague and you say, hey, between, like Troy Polamalu used to always say that, that's between my agent and the Roonies. And his agent was on the same page too. So they would try to
Right.
talk to his agent, now that's between me and yours. But, these guys don't understand that everything that they say could be blown up. Everything they tweet can be blown up. Everything that they recorded doing, whether they're at a bar or, the dude from the Chiefs, Worthy,
Yeah, the kid from Xavier Worthy today with the jewelry and the
it's
the
just
cash
like,
and
Jesus
making it rain
Christ,
in his
dude.
bathroom.
Not to mention, not to mention how much bullshit have the Chiefs had to deal with this offseason, right?
Hey.
And I'm sure like their PR staff is drinking bleach right now. Like how many more times, but there's something to be said about what Daniel said, and I'm not going to say he's wrong for saying it. Like, again,
Right.
but we're talking about this because he chose to answer it a certain way. And these guys don't always understand that. Even guys like Cam Hayward, who used to never respond to the media, and now he's got a different type of platform. Maybe he's more comfortable doing it. But yeah, guys don't understand that everything they say and do could be a story.
Yeah, I thought he handled it well, considering. I mean, it's not, and I agree with what Freak just said here too. I would have thought Suomalo would have been more the guy leaning towards the door just because of age, but and I agree with what Ben said too about the price. I mean, my God, when you see guards get paid this much, you got to be prepared.
He'd have more security if he got the extension before this season. But he knows going into the year that all he's got to do is just get out of the year healthy, and he's getting paid, and he's going to get paid handsomely.
Sure,
because he's performed well. He's got a long track record, and he's still going to be 27, going on 28 next year. He's got a lot of prime years left as an offensive lineman, and somebody's going to pay him big. And I hope it's not some team like Cleveland, which that's what I think is probably what's going to happen, to be perfectly honest with you, which sucks.
And when you think about the Steelers' offensive lines that were good, there was cohesion there, right? Even the lines that didn't necessarily win a Super Bowl, but Pouncey, Gilbert, DeCastro, Foster, Villanueva, like that was a core group of guys that were there.
Even the depth players behind them.
Kelvin Beachum was part of that. Cody Wallace. Like there was a 5, 6, 7 year span where those dudes, BJ Finney was a really good plug and play guy. But for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, there was a consistency on that offensive line, and I think that that's important. Now, looking at you got a brand new offense with a guy that I think we all know what's going to happen. They're going to be very run heavy. And I know that is, playing football in the Stone Age, but let's just see what's happening.
Right.
And maybe similar to Najee, they're maybe waiting and seeing on a guy like Daniels. And I understand that, when you become unrestricted free agent, there's a good chance that you don't keep that guy. But I think that this regime, for better or worse, might be a little bit more okay with letting guys test the market, whereas the former regime's number one priority was to always keep their current guys. They always wanted to sign their own guys. I can hear Kevin Colbert saying that shit in my sleep, because even guys like Jordan Dangerfield, there was special teamer that it didn't matter your status. They just wanted to keep their guys, and they wanted to keep that core.
Ian, what in the world is happening with wide receiver salaries right now?
I mean,
yeah.
The top end guys, the Tyreek Hill's making $30 million. That was already happening. The crazy thing now is that you've got guys who are wide receiver 2s.
St. Brown making 30 mil.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
He's the number one on their team, but I mean,
still.
no, he's not a 30 mil player. But nevertheless, guys who are wide, like Jalen Waddle, getting 28 million for a guy.
He's getting 28 million in 2026.
Yeah,
on paper anyway.
He had 2 years left on his deal, right?
He had 2 years left on his deal. So the Dolphins tried to get out in front of the pay scale for wide receiver, which is fucking outrageous.
Yeah.
So he's got I think he makes 4 and change this year, he does. And he makes 15 million next year on a 5th-year option. And then he got 3 more years on top of that. Plus, he got a bunch of money up front, a signing bonus today.
Yeah.
So he gets a lot. And then what the Dolphins get later is they're projecting it anyway to be an affordable contract in 2 years.
Yeah.
When the wide receiver pay scale is outrageous.
For a guy who's been injured almost, a quarter of the time he's been in the league.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing, yes, when he's healthy, he's definitely a weapon.
Absolutely.
But looking at these guys who are, starting to get paid now as, these top end wide receiver salaries too. And just thinking about the Steelers, these aren't, these gigantic physical freaks. These aren't the Megatrons, the Andre Johnsons, the Larry Fitzgeralds, they're not these guys who are, these physically dominant players. They're these small, fast guys that can just run away from people and get a lot of yards after the catch. And that's how the Dolphins offense is built. But even St. Brown's not the biggest dude in the world. Tyreek Hill's not a big dude. And I realized I just mentioned the Dolphins guys twice, but still, that's how they want to play offense. But I mean, I don't know,
but if you're not healthy,
paying 25 million a year for a wide receiver too. Like the Steelers' philosophy has pretty much always been, we'll pay one wide receiver. And I remember on this show, we talked about that's why we didn't think Juju would get a second contract with the team, because we were like, they only pay one wide receiver at a time. We talked about it with outside linebackers, why we didn't think Highsmith would, because they're paying what? That it's, when these salaries for the top end players are out of control like they are, you can only pay so many of those guys, and you can't have, 2 guys at that position getting that kind of money. So,
which makes you wonder
point,
since they paid Waddle, it kind of makes you wonder if the Dolphins aren't thinking, one, they're not going to give Tyreek Hill a new deal because he wants a new deal, and he's been trying to get one for months. They're not going to give him a new deal, and they are projecting that when his deal is up, he's gone.
I would bet on when his deal is up, he's gone.
I agree.
Given age and all that other stuff.
Yep.
And the only other point I was going to make was, at some point we've seen it happen with running backs. I don't know if we'll see it happen as much with wide receivers just because of how valuable the passing game is. But the wide receivers coming out of college now are a lot better than they used to be. They're a lot more primed to step in and contribute right away in the NFL. So, some teams are going to start to think, and we've already seen it actually, like the Titans trading away that year where the Titans traded A.J. Brown, the Ravens traded Marquise Brown, and there was one other wide receiver that was traded in that same draft year, and then they all drafted rookie receivers. Didn't work out for them so well, but teams are going to start to look at this and say, can we get a similar value off a rookie receiver that'll be much cheaper that we'll have control over for 4 years?
4 years, maybe 5.
Right. Versus paying $30 million to a guy.
Even if you draft a guy in the second round, you can still franchise him. For a 5th year. And right now, the franchise tag, by comparison to the top end of the wide receiver pay scale, is actually kind of affordable.
Affordable meaning
20 mil versus 30 mil.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So it's like, well, maybe this is the way to go. Guys are coming out more and more pro ready at the position. Maybe this is the thing to do. And I don't know. Somebody said it in the chat here recently. It's this may be the era where the Steelers are drafting a wide receiver every year, every other.
Yeah, and I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine with that. Because in my I know I don't hate the Ravens as much as everybody else does, but I think the Ravens absolutely won getting rid of Marquise Brown for Zay Flowers. I think Zay Flowers is a rookie. He had some mistakes this year, but Zay Flowers is really good.
He's better than Marquise Brown, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
they got a first round pick for him. I mean, my God, that was a great trade for them.
Yeah, and the Titans, not so much. We'll see what happens, but AJ Brown was hurt when it mattered most this year. I said this months ago, and I'm going to say it again. First of all, I think there was a lot of misinformation on the Bird app about trades and phone calls and this and that, because even as something as recent as today, the report was, the Denver Broncos not expected to trade Cortland Sutton. It's well, no shit. Why would they trade him now? Why would they trade him now? And he's also looking for, X amount of money per year. Now, Cortland Sutton, I think they said he's looking for, 14 to 16 million a year, which I might say the Steelers would be willing to entertain. But, this whole Brandon Ayuk fucking thing, I don't know.
No
and
way.
I totally get it.
They haven't had any conversations with them since the outset of free agency. Nothing.
And I swear to Christ, it's people just pick random receivers and they say, oh, well, this guy only has a year left on his deal, and Steelers are going to be interested in this guy. And it's okay, listen, man, this isn't fantasy football. This isn't fucking Madden.
Right. Not fucking Madden. Exactly.
It's what are we really doing here? And then I understand that eventually the Steelers are going to have to pay a wide receiver significant money, which will be market value. Now, whether that's a guy they draft and then they give him a second contract, which doesn't always I'm laughing at the freak. But actually, I actually don't enjoy that, because it's it actually, I lose brain cells doing it, because you can't have a rational conversation with anybody.
Nope.
But but this whole Brandon Ayuk thing, and people still believe that this is going to happen this weekend, and I'm just there thinking okay. Hypothetically, it happens. I just don't the only way it would happen is if the Steelers gave him a new deal, and he's going to be asking for $25 million or more per year.
Right.
And I just don't see this team doing it.
Ayuk's going to want 30.
And I know, because of all these recent extensions.
Because of all these deals.
And he's not wrong for wanting that.
No, he's not.
But I know this team has been, and I'm going to use quote, doing things differently.
Yes.
I don't think their contract model has changed. I just don't. They don't. They still
not
don't
in that extreme.
They still don't give a lot of guaranteed money, which guys like.
They do that if your name is Watt.
Well, okay, yes, and they also drafted him, and they want to keep him.
Or Minka, yeah, exactly. I mean, they gave
Minka
those guys
was
a lot of
first-round
guaranteed.
pick. Right, sorry, first-round pick that they traded a first-round pick for, but
right.
They just I don't like. So sometimes I just sit there and think okay, I know you're thinking you want this, and I don't want Brandon Ayuk, but take a step back and think about how this team operates. It's do you really think they're going to absolutely go against their beliefs and their values and their business MO because they look on Twitter and see that, Joe Yinzer 6969 says, my source
Bob,
told
a whole
me,
bunch of numbers.
Yeah. My source
told me that they're definitely going to try to trade for him.
Let me give you a hypothetical. Is it at all possible that they have zero intentions of giving George Pickens a new deal?
I would not be
not today. I'm talking about he's got 2 years left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I would not be
today,
surprised if they did not.
I would think that today their stance is, let's see what he does.
I
Okay.
would agree with that.
Because may as well just let the cat out of the bag on this. Pickens was rarely, if ever, on time for team meetings, positional meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Missed one positional meeting altogether without even giving anybody a heads up.
Yep.
Was occasionally disrespectful to coaches. His buddy DJ was twice as bad, and so they put all of that at DJ's feet and got rid of DJ, traded him to the worst team in the league.
Yep.
That being the case, you kind of go, well, we got this guy who's kind of a fucking head case. We got rid of the guy we think is a bad influence. We talked to him about his behavior, what it does to the rest of the team. Let's see if he buys in this year. If he does, maybe we'll give him a new deal. If he doesn't, no fucking way.
Well, and that's what I'm getting at is if the Steelers all of a sudden made this move for Ayuk, then to me, that guarantees Pickens not staying past his contract.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Sure.
Right.
But I mean,
one
last thing, since we were talking about it before, Tyreek Hill
Yeah.
has 3 years left on his deal.
Oof.
He'll be 32 when his deal is up, going on 33. The more I look at this, the more I think that's what they're thinking, that he's not going to be there past this contract. His base salary in the last year of his deal is $43 million, $43.9. That's a fake year. They're cutting him. So I would say he's got 2 years left in Miami, after which he'll be 31 going on 32. He'll turn 32 in the season. And yeah.
You know where he's going to go after that, though?
Baltimore.
Kansas City?
No, Steelers.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Obviously.
For sure. You're right, Ryan. For sure. Of course, because everyone wants to play for the Steelers.
Right.
Right.
Actually, they'll play for the Steelers for less money because it's Pittsburgh.
I will pay for a pierogi.
You know what's wild about Tyreek Hill? Is that we talk about, we talk about that 5-year Antonio Brown stretch.
Oh yeah.
And Tyreek Hill, if he has a consistent year as he has, he could potentially top AB's numbers. I might be drunk. Hold on. Actually, I'm not drunk, but give me a second. Go ahead. Continue. I'll get back.
Continue.
Sorry.
One other item from OTAs is that Justin Fields made it clear that he does not plan to return kicks, as was rumored.
Was a joke. Come on.
I know.
That was a rumor that Jalen Warren started as a tongue-in-cheek remark, and people took it and ran with it.
Exactly. It's like, oh my God, I saw it on Twitter, so it's got to be true.
I did see something today that I thought was cool, and I wanted to talk about it tonight. It has nothing to do with the Steelers, but I think it's something they might think about doing because it's Mike Tomlin.
Okay.
The Chiefs are toying with the idea of having a place kicker and having a positional player be their kicker on kickoffs. Just teaching a safety.
Kind of like Justin Reed did.
To kick the ball up high in the air.
Yeah.
And when it gets fielded, you're back there because you're the lone safety. If a guy gets past the line, the up line, he's got 10 guys that are all in a line. If he gets past those guys,
that's true. It is different.
He's got nothing but a kicker to get past, and he's there for 6. So the Chiefs are playing with that idea, and it makes me wonder if there's somebody, a linebacker or a safety or a corner, who can kick, not necessarily place kick, like put it through the uprights, but kick the ball long enough and high enough,
right,
to be in that position.
And you know what?
Hey, Vinny's here. Welcome, Vinny. The whole crew's back together. Vinny's here. Burner's here. All right. Welcome back, guys. Was it Ndamukong Suh for the Lions that kicked an extra point the one time because
Yeah,
their
I think
kicker got
so.
hurt?
Yeah. I
Like,
think you're
imagine
right.
trotting him out on one of these new kickoffs or a guy like, right? But no, I mean, I don't hate that idea that it's like, let's put another defensive player out there that can tackle somebody.
I mean, if you still had like a Dan Sepulveda, remember him?
Yes,
yeah.
I do.
And put him on kickoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to cringe on punt returns when I knew he was the man in the back and he was and the returner was past everybody. I was like, oh shit, here it comes. Oh God damn.
Mhm.
He would lay guys out.
Yeah.
And he was
He's
a
a big
fucking
dude.
punter. Yeah,
You
but he
know,
was a linebacker in college.
I hated that the NFL started amending these kickoff rules. And now I'm finally at a point where I'm like interested again. You know, they always called it the most exciting play in the game. And
Yeah.
now I'm interested again because I really do think there's more strategy that's going to go into this
Oh yeah.
this play this year.
Well, yeah, the
and it makes
NFL
me
didn't
wonder,
want it. They didn't want it to be a bathroom break anymore. They
Yeah.
want people to watch.
You got an evil genius like Danny Smith who may come up with some twists that we're not going to expect, like that thing this year when the returner ran out of bounds and grabbed the ball.
Yeah,
I mean,
it will be
Shit like that. Oh yeah, we went the ball at the 45. So you got to bounce. You stand here and you grab it.
You know, and I don't know if, and yeah, it's, I mean, the burden is on him, but you know, somebody was, and I've said this on the show, like I've known Danny Smith my whole life. He grew up on the same street as my dad. They go way back. Danny Smith's a Pittsburgh guy. Love Danny, but I'm not going to say that he doesn't have his faults. And I think his biggest issue throughout his career with the Steelers has been consistent punting. You know,
For sure.
He has went through a variety of punters.
Yep.
I think the best of the bunch was Jordan Berry.
And even he had some
he had his moments.
Not Mitch Berger.
But Danny wasn't here for that. For Zoltan Mesko.
Zoltan, you
Nicest-
Mish.
My dad and I used to call Mitch Berger the lob wedge.
He's terrible.
He was the master.
But people were talking shit on Danny Smith earlier this year on the Bird app, and I did some digging, and like since he left Washington, they're one of the worst units. I think they've allowed the second most returns for touchdowns, punt and kickoff since he left, and then since he's been at the Steelers are above tops in the league for punt returns and kick returns. So he's doing a good job. Anyway, but yeah, Ben, you're right. Like I love Danny. Danny's fucking wild, dude. He's crazy, man. He's from Pittsburgh.
I'm just saying
he's
from
Pittsburgh.
He's gonna study the rules, the new rules on this thing. And he's gonna come up with some twists that we're not even gonna think of.
Yep.
And in game, it's gonna happen, and we're gonna laugh our fucking asses off.
I'm gonna tell you this right now. The most and I know still Dad will disagree, but the most important points weapon that the Steelers have had, consistent points weapon over the last 4 to 5 years, is Chris Boswell. Ever since Boz had that shitty 2018 year, he has been the most consistent points weapon that the Steelers have. And I'm going to tell you this.
Baby.
And I'm going to tell you
what's the most important stat in football?
Field position?
Fucking points.
I thought you meant special teams. Anyway.
No, you thought I was going to say pass rush win rate, but I was talking about points. I was talking about points. Because points are actually how they decide the outcome of the game.
They do matter. Yeah.
So, and I'll make this quick. If I don't have to send out Boz on a kickoff where anything can go wrong,
true.
I'm not. Why should I? Like, why should I do that? So if fucking
you got to have a guy who can kick, though, man. And it ain't that easy. Like just hitting a 15-yard, which an extra point, which is a 25-yard kick when you factor in the end zone. That's not that easy, man.
No,
it ain't
but
that
you know
easy.
But you know what, though? I would say this is that you don't get practice film unless you're Belichick. You don't get practice film of other teams. So Danny could essentially have a couple different guys throughout the week.
Yeah.
Try some kicks.
I love the idea. I really do.
The media is not allowed to report what they see at practice unless it's confirmed by a player coach. So the Steelers PR staff, get back to them, would have to say, do not say a fucking word about this.
Yeah.
But sweet feet Keanu Benton gets out there and fucking whacks one to the 5 with about 4.8 hang time. I don't know.
Real quick, let's do a quick roll call. Ian, what are you drinking tonight?
I'm drinking a Fat Tire Ale.
New Belgium.
New Belgium.
That's
yeah.
very good.
Drinking Colorado beer tonight, Ian.
Yeah, I got a keg of it. It's delicious.
Outstanding. Ben, what do you got?
Outstanding. I'm drinking Bat Squatch hazy.
Okay.
In honor of our batshit friends on the Bird app. There was a lot going on there today, and the batshittery was strong. It was strong.
Scarps, what's in your red
And
Solo?
it wasn't just the Steelers. Like, I mean, and some of that was the Steelers. Like,
well,
I had a conversation with a guy today who told me that we had 2 top 10 quarterbacks and that they were going to alternate series. I was like, really? You're a fucking moron, because you watch a lot of college football, don't you? Yeah, and you think that's going to that applies to the NFL. You're a fucking idiot. And
Yeah. Scarps, your drink of choice this evening?
Claws.
You'll notice how much he hesitates. Ben, look what I have this evening.
Oh, the Basil Hayden Dark Rye. What do you think?
I'm telling you what, man, it is really nice.
That's fucking delicious, isn't it? By itself in a glass. You're just like, oh my God, this is delicious.
I poured it, and even Ian could see it. It's so reddish.
Yeah, man, it's delicious.
Yeah.
I love
it.
it.
I also have, how about this?
You know who turned me on to that? But he's not watching tonight. Johnny. Voodoo Ranger, also New Belgium.
New Belgium.
Yeah.
Is that what's that? A Voodoo Ranger.
Yeah. It's a Juice
good,
Force IPA. Very tasty.
Good,
Voodoo Ranger IPA is tasty stuff, man.
Very good. Very good. One of the things I wanted to do tonight was do a little bit of viewer questions. It's the off season, and there's not a ton going on, so I thought, what the hell? Let's
a new brand called Afternoon Delight. Jesus Christ.
In Terry Bongshaw.
This dude obviously lives where the recreational marijuana is legal.
The fact that he calls it Terry Bongshaw is
the fact that it's branded Afternoon Delight, because when you walk into these fucking dispensaries, they all have names like that, and I'm like, really? Okay.
Oh, they're fantastic names. Yeah, they really are. Anyway, if you're viewing the show right now and you have a question for any one of us, Steelers related or anything else,
or not,
we'll find something to talk about.
Not accepting questions from people from Ohio, but anyone else,
right?
Absolutely,
right. If you're from Ohio, don't bother.
That's true. Vinny, you can ask questions. You're the
Vinny's.
You know what's funny is I figured out why they're not going to give James Daniels an extension.
Uh-oh.
He's from Warren, Ohio.
Oh, he is, isn't he? That's right. That's right. He played his college ball at Illinois.
Telling you, when that dude
Iowa
signs with the fucking Cleveland.
I knew
Browns.
It was one of those I schools in the Big Ten.
But
anyway, if you got questions, anything on your mind, shoot us a comment here. I'll read it so that the listeners later can follow along and stuff. And if you got nothing, that's fine too, because we've got plenty to discuss.
Do we though?
When
we'll find something.
When James Daniels leaves and goes to the fucking Cleveland Browns to replace Joel Bitonio, I'm going to be beside myself with anger. But we'll wait for that to happen next year.
Yeah, I mean, all you can hope is that they just Cleveland's Cleveland, and they don't do right by him, which I hate saying that because I like James Daniel, but
there are. It's well known that to get players to come to Cleveland, you pay the quote unquote Cleveland tax.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But Haslam's willing to pay it. And so
Yeah,
a lot
of
of guys
course.
going, well, if that's the case. Great. I mean, we'll pay him whatever we got to pay him. So let's add that guy. So
we have our first question.
Great question from Vinny.
Yeah, Vinny's starting off gangbusters here. He says, you guys like Joey Porter Jr. saying he's the best corner in the league. I feel he shouldn't say that yet. Hasn't even been an all-pro yet.
I like the attitude, though.
Okay.
I like the attitude. I like the self-assuredness. I like the fact that he believes in himself. Do I think he is? Fuck no. He was a very good player last year. Derek, who is a friend of the site, a friend of the podcast,
absolutely,
a friend in general, does a lot of good work. Wrote up an article on JPJ's season today, put it out. He did very, very well. He allowed a 38.8 passer rating when he was thrown at.
Yeah.
Okay, the dude was great, but he also had a lot of penalties and made a bunch of rookie fuck ups. Let's just be honest. He's a young kid. He made some rookie mistakes.
Right.
Okay. He's gonna get better.
Mm-hmm.
His ceiling is very high. For a first-year player, he was absolutely fucking outstanding.
Yep.
So I'm happy, and like I said, I like the attitude. Is he the best corner in the NFL? No. But I like the fact that he believes that he is, and he's going to work at it. Because the thing he said is, I don't care if people are talking about me in that light or not. Eventually, they're going to.
I would rather him saying that than the opposite. I know that. Next question comes from Freak. Do you believe?
Can I just add one thing on that too?
Oh, sure. Go right ahead.
As a cornerback, you have to have the shortest memory and the most confidence of pretty much any position on the field because you're out there one-on-one on an island against guys. And if you don't have confidence, you're going to lose before the ball's even snapped. So whether or not, I agree with Ben. Like, I don't think he should have said it because now people are going to come after him and use it. But like last year when Patrick Peterson ran his mouth and then Brock Purdy lit him up, it was like,
fucking Purdy lit him up.
Yeah.
Did you see the quarterback? Did you? Sorry, Ian, go ahead.
Yeah, but no, I'm just saying, like, when you say things like that, people remember it. But also, to Ben's point, is correct. Those guys have to have confidence in themselves.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
a couple things. Do you realize how much shit Porter talks throughout the course of a game?
Oh my!
He's
literally
man.
Joey Porter's son. Yes.
He's a marked man.
I'd be disappointed if he didn't.
I'm just saying, the dude's a marked man anyway. At this point, saying it publicly, it's like, well, we already knew that.
Right.
He's a marked man regardless. The dude talks so much shit that it doesn't make any difference.
Still, Dad, we got to get everybody to answer, don't we?
I'm trying to. Scarps, go ahead. You want to jump in?
No, I just
JPJ question.
A couple things. I said earlier that these dudes don't understand everything they say or do is going to be a story. Here's another story.
Yeah.
And whether JPJ, likes it or not, he's always going to be measured against his dad, who was a shit talker, but was also a pretty good football player that got shot in Denver and led this team to a championship.
Shot me in Denver.
And also too, he, whether he wants to accept this or not, there are fans that believe he was only selected because of his dad and that his dad was close with Coach Tomlin. I have said this on the show multiple times. I believe that he will hit a second-year wall this year. I'm not saying he's going to be good. He's going to go. I'm not saying he's going to go full Chase Claypool.
God!
But when you start saying that stuff, some people say, "Oh, bulletin board material doesn't mean anything," or this and that. Regardless of how much work you put in and whatever you do, have you seen the list of quarterbacks that the Steelers are going to face this year? If everybody stays healthy, I've seen plenty of Steelers defensive backs talk a little shit, and none greater than Anthony Smith, and that turned out horribly. I think Joey Porter Jr. is a pretty good football player.
Okay.
Do I think he's the best in the league at what he does? No, I do not. Do I think he's going to have some growing pains this year? Yes, I do. Does that mean he's not a good player if he has growing pains this year? No, I don't.
Right.
Right. As you guys both said, quarterback is the worst fucking position you could play in this game. Look at guys like Ike Taylor, who, people always shit on Ike Taylor because he didn't have, if he had amazing hands, he'd probably be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But guys like Ike, always got sort of this like bad rap. But man, Ike lined up against an opponent's number one every fucking week,
every week, man.
And he go back and look at some of the dudes he locked down. So, you have to have confidence at that position. And I respect the young man's confidence, but sometimes you just gotta shut up a little bit. But whatever. Yeah. He already said it. It's what it is.
Next question.
I think you're right, Scarps, and I'll shut up. So much that I think he's going to struggle with penalties.
Mm-hmm.
And that was our concern all along coming in.
And here's another thing too. Whether he wants to believe this or not, but you can't fucking tell me that officials don't also hear these things and they don't watch tape.
They know you're
right. They don't look for tendencies, because isn't it funny that at the most convenient times they call a penalty one way or the other, and you're like, well, fuck. Wonder why they called that.
I'm just glad Angel Hernandez isn't around to call this guy.
They called that because they knew that they would piss Ian off.
Likely.
Exactly.
Fuckers.
Like that guy Ian criticized me on his show.
Oh, I guarantee you they're all watching right now. Yeah. Freak asks, do you believe that Wilson or Fields can be the QB answer? Ian, go ahead.
This year, I think Wilson will be better than Pickett was, and better than Rudolph was. Long term,
pretty low.
Yeah. Long term, I don't think either one of them is the answer. I'm highly intrigued though what happens from a contract standpoint if, let's just say hypothetically, Wilson comes in, plays well, and they get to the AFC Championship game. Do they then have to dole out $35 or $40 million a year to Russell Wilson, who's already 35 years old? Yeah, on a short deal. But think about the deal Aaron Rodgers got from the Jets, right? It was 2 years,
ridiculous. And 50 mil and
yeah. So, but if he comes in and is successful, do they then are we got to keep this guy around? If Wilson isn't successful, I could see them trying to give Fields a contract similar to what the Packers did with Jordan Love. Kind of a first year prove it deal, and then a big escalator in the second year, which is not guaranteed, which then basically becomes a team option for year 2 if he plays well. And this is not a great quarterback draft class coming up. So there's not a long-term answer right now on the roster, but there's also not a long-term answer in the draft next year either. So it's a Band-Aid for a few years, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Scarps, you feel similar way there regarding these quarterbacks?
I'm going to go a little bit more Kool-Aid that Russell Wilson prepared for me. I'm just, man, and I might be wrong and I don't give a shit, but I haven't been this excited within reason about this team in a long time. Even though Russell Wilson supposedly sucked ass last year, was washed, the dude threw 26 touchdowns.
I know. I'll take that washed all day long.
In 15 games.
In 15 games. And people were telling me on the Bird app that, that's because he was so far behind in fourth quarters. And when you actually look at his splits, he was actually fairly consistent throughout. People are gonna believe what they want to believe, and that's fine. But you know what?
Amen.
The dude, I'll say this too. I know Mike Tomlin. I know Mike Tomlin personally, but I know sometimes he says a lot of nothing with a lot of words, but says nothing. But he talked, and this stuck with me. He talked about Russell Wilson Damn you, Ian. He talked about
You're welcome.
Russell. He talks about Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, and Arthur Smith all having something to prove. And when you think about that, that's not to steal Russ's danger witch, his shitty Subway sandwich that he's creepily eating in a commercial, but Russell Wilson has something to prove. Justin Fields has something to prove. Arthur Smith has something to prove. I am all aboard the Russ train. He has said everything. He has done everything the right way. He said everything the right way. He's including his teammates. Him and Justin Fields.
Scarpino, that's what we always call him.
Oh man,
thank you. Him and here's what's wild about it is it like no matter what I say about the Steelers, I'm always a piece of shit. Like whether I'm positive or negative, there's always somebody that's gonna have something. But no, I'm all aboard the Russ bus, and I fully believe in him. I think he's gonna have a really good year. And again, I think that Russell Wilson can be the bridge guy that Mason Rudolph probably should have been for the last couple years. And I think that Justin Fields can learn and grow, and Justin Fields could be the successor.
I hope so.
Just real quick. I would say that I'm with you, Scarps. I don't even look at it like Russell Wilson, the person. I just feel like having him there gives us a better chance to win. And that's where my excitement is.
Well, he knows how to win. That's
And even though I know he can make boneheaded plays, he can make dumb throws. We get that, but I feel like this is the first time in several years where when we have the ball, I feel like we can actually get some first downs consistently and do some things.
One final thing before Ben, sorry, just
go ahead.
The Russell Wilson, and I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson reminds me of Ben in the sense it has nothing to do with size or whatever.
Right.
He is going to try to extend the play. He's going to frustrate you at times, but goddamn, he's going to throw a laser and you're going to be like, okay, we're good. We're good. Thank you.
I agree with that. I like that.
And we've been searching for that. We've been searching for any sort of semblance of stones or balls. And the only time we've seen that since Ben retired is the final 3 games of last year when Mason Rudolph played.
Right. Ben, what's your take on the quarterbacks? Can either of these guys hold that down for a couple seasons?
I don't know. And I don't think it necessarily matters. And here's why. The bar was so fucking low for the last 2 years. It was so bad that even just an improvement to mediocre would be a giant step up. If this can just be a top 16 scoring offense, seriously, it'll be a much improved. I've talked about this in the show before. Mike Tomlin won 10 games last year with a team that averaged 17.9 points. And they scored a lot more than that in their last 3 games.
Right.
Or averaged more than that. Actually, they only scored 17 versus Baltimore and 1, but they averaged more points than that the last 3 games.
No,
they were a lot better, and they brought that average up. So, I mean, think about that. They were scoring on average 16, 17 points a game most of the year, and they won 10 games. If they can just be an average scoring offense, they can get up to 21, 22, 23, 24 points a game, they're going to be a pretty good record. They're going to be pretty respectable. Excuse me. So, big picture, what do I think? I think that Wilson is, on the backside of a Hall of Fame career. And that's great. I hope that he can teach Justin Fields some things, and that Fields and the light bulb comes on, and that Fields can be that guy long term, because again, his physical ability is not at all in doubt.
Nope.
What he's got going on between his ears, that's what's in doubt. And if he can make better decisions with the ball, he can be a franchise quarterback. He can be that guy we need long term. But I'm hopeful that he sits for an entire year.
Same.
And watches and talks with Russ after every series and says, here's what I saw. What did you see? Da, 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 da. And they go back and forth. And here's what I did. And here's why I did it. And that he learns from him.
Probably Roethlisberger.
Yeah, it's got to be Big Ben on that question. We have a question from Aaron in Ohio who asks, who is our favorite wrestler?
Fuck you, Aaron.
Scarps, I'm going to go to you first. Who is your favorite wrestler?
I thought we had one before that. Of all time?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Holy shit.
It's hard. It is very hard.
I loved WWF growing up.
Of course.
And then I just, fucking hit puberty during the Attitude Era, and like, yes, I was that kid going down the hall. Suck it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I never did it. I was always respectful, though. It was only towards,
yeah, I had students doing that.
Only towards, it wasn't inappropriate.
Only towards students.
It was never, it was never inappropriate sucking. Man, holy shit. I can't pick I can't.
Oh, no. He's been stumped on
Just
this
fucking pick one so we can move past this dumb question.
Holy hell.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
I gotta go with the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
All right. Okay.
Heartbreak
Kid.
I have to.
Heartbreak Kid. Love it. Ian, who was your favorite wrestler?
So when I was in college,
Bruno Sammartino. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah. When I was in college, one of the dudes in my fraternity loved wrestling. So he assigned a wrestler's theme song to every dude in our fraternity, and he had a room that faced outwards, into the parking lot towards the doors that came into the building. So he would turn his computer speakers out his windows, and when we're walking through the parking lot to the building, would start blasting our music, entrance music. And
it's good. I like that.
And I was never super into wrestling, but the theme song he gave me was Randy Orton's theme, so I kind of adopted the the Randy Orton thing.
I don't even know who Randy Orton is.
Randy Orton was a pretty good heel until he started actually being a heel and shitting in people's bags and stuff in the locker room.
Shitting in people's bags.
Yes.
Sounds like a real winner, swell guy.
I'm going to go with Randy Orton.
I loved Junkyard Dog. I always loved JYD.
Junkyard Dog.
But I look, this is easy, but there was
Randy Orton was the legend killer too, by the way.
There was no better entertainer than Ric Flair. He was so funny to watch. I mean, the dude, nobody has ever played it as well since.
Randy Savage
is just fun. Macho Man was great. There was lots of
the crop,
but Flair, yeah. So I'm just gonna say that Ben's favorite is Randy because he mentioned it. And
wrong.
Do you have a favorite, Ben?
Yeah, Sergeant Slaughter, who got kicked out of the WWE.
He did.
For making it too real, beating up other wrestlers. That guy, he's my favorite.
I love it
because he beat up wrestlers, and actually that's kind of funny because he wrestled Andre the Giant, and they did it on purpose. Supposedly, I read it this way because they knew that when he did his usual stick and made it real and started beating up on the other guy, that Andre would get pissed and beat the shit out of him. And he did. I mean, allegedly, anyway, Andre the Giant was not only gigantic, he was unreasonably strong. It was like he was a man playing with little boys, and that little boy was Hulk Hogan, and who was also a gigantic human being. Yes. But he was so much bigger and so much stronger that
here's a fast fact. Sergeant Slaughter follows me on Twitter.
Really?
Holy
Yep.
shit!
Yep.
Wow.
I wonder if it's the real one though.
Him and
the real
Cower.
guy.
Far as I know, it is.
Him and Carr.
Him and Cower have the most intimidating chins of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about his chin, but
Yes.
I always loved the guy because when they kicked him out, I was like, oh, well, that's awesome. So he was really fighting? Well, that's great.
Back to football. Vinny asks, who's everyone's favorite current player? Ian, go ahead.
Minka.
Favorite current player.
Yeah. I was so excited when they traded for Minka. Yeah, he's definitely my favorite current player.
Ben, your favorite current player?
It was Cam, but he's been kind of a douchebag for the past 12, 18 months.
Shit.
I'm just saying. I mean, he's definitely doing the Ryan Clark thing where he's trying to
get that media.
He's
attention.
set himself up for a media career.
Yeah.
And I'm like, But I loved his intensity and I loved his leadership for a long time. God. You know, that's the thing about this team, that they're hard to love because they're leaderless.
Yes. They're yeah.
I guess TJ, but even TJ's not a great leader. He's just a really good player.
Right.
Really fucking good player, you know?
Yep. Scarps, who's your guy?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I gotta go Russell Wilson.
What? Hasn't even
Really?
taken a snap yet.
He has not played one snap as a Steeler.
I don't
my
give
favorite.
A shit. I don't give a shit. The question was what was the question?
Sunshine Scarps is really taking
the question is, who's your favorite current Steeler?
I get it.
Okay.
But Sunshine Scarpino is really taking me out of my comfort zone because
that's fine.
He's so skeptical.
Listen,
this is just weird.
I know TJ. I know Minka. I've dealt with these fools for years. Okay, but again, Russell Wilson has said the right things. He's done the right things. He's a former Walter Payton Man of the Year.
I mean,
he's a winner.
Rudolph said and did all the right things too, but he wasn't a good quarterback.
Okay, but okay, and okay. Here's the bottom line: is I don't give a shit what Marshawn Lynch Beast Mode says about Russell Wilson, because bottom line is I truly believe.
Sherman?
Huh?
What about Richard Sherman?
Richard Sherman wanted to position himself for a career just like Cam Hayward does.
He did.
I'm just saying he also has a beef with our quarterback.
Okay, and that's fine. And you know why? And I'm going to tell you this right now. Do you know why? I'm telling you this right now. Do you know why they have a beef with him? Because Russell Wilson treated this like a job. He didn't treat it like the club. He didn't treat it like, oh, I'm going to fuck around at work. He treated it like, I'm going to go to work. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to perform. I'm going to go from there. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Beast Mode is pissed off because they didn't hand him the football at the fucking
I agree they should have, but Russell Wilson didn't call the play.
Exactly. And he is a scapegoat. Russell Wilson is a winner. He's consistent. And he's saying all the right things. He's doing all the right things. Justin Fields.
Beast Mode has said he doesn't have any personal problem with Wilson. He just thinks he's weird. He just thinks he's a weird dude.
Okay, and I'm gonna tell you, but no, you're not wrong. I'm gonna tell you this right now. There are a lot of fucking weird dudes in that locker room. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, any locker room, dude. Any locker room has a handful of weird dudes.
It is the ultimate melting pot. The locker room is
great teams always have oddballs.
Different races, different religions, different creeds, different beliefs.
Yep.
And you know what? I'm going to tell you this right now. If in that first game, where were we at first game?
At Atlanta.
Okay. Let's say we don't win the game. Okay. Let's just say it's just a standard road, tough game. We lose 28-27.
Oh boy.
Russell Wilson throws 3 touchdowns and 290 yards and no picks. I think a lot of people are going to believe, and I think Russell Wilson is capable of that. I think that I think he's just gonna have a really good year, and he is my favorite Steeler right now. And
Right,
you know
okay.
what? He's my favorite Steeler right now because he's doing all the fucking right things PR wise, and that's
what
all
it
I
is.
care
It's the
about right
PR.
now.
Love it. Love
It's
it.
Right now, that's
PR
all I care
sunshine.
about.
PR
Yeah.
sunshine. That's great. I my take on the first week, because since we're talking about the first week, will always be what it is every year in the first week. If we win, don't get too high. If we
But
lose, don't
Absolutely.
get too low.
Yeah.
It's
And
fucking
I would,
week
yeah.
one, especially
Yep.
now with a shortened preseason. It's going to be sloppy.
yes. Yes.
And I would say this. If Vinny brings up a good point, if the biggest knock on Russell Wilson is that he doesn't party, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because
I agree.
the former Steelers quarterback partied a little too much and got himself into trouble.
Kenny Pickett?
Fuck that guy. No, a guy that actually won something here. Won two things here.
What you're saying is Tequila Cowboy is not a requisite to be the quarterback in Pittsburgh?
Depends.
Look,
on
my
what we're
favorite
talking
current
about.
Steeler, I love Cam. I agree with you guys. He's getting towards the end. I tell you, the guy I really like is Landon Roberts.
Okay.
All right.
I
That's
love
good.
the way the
I'll-
guy
I'll in on
plays.
that.
Good leader. Good leader.
He's
I like
a leader. He plays hurt.
All in on that.
I like you, Landon. I don't know a ton about him, but I hope he has a couple of good more good years here. Did we have any other questions? I didn't see any other questions yet.
No.
No?
I had a question.
Okay.
If you guys would all like to answer it real quickly.
All right.
Why does pro wrestling suck donkey balls?
Oh, for God's sakes. You think you're going to get something serious out of this guy.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's fun, and Ben hates fun.
That's
It's
true.
not fun. It's dumb. It's fucking
It's a soap
scripted.
opera.
It's fucking scripted. It's dumb.
Ben, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Uh-oh.
Have you ever been
Sunshine Scarpino. Go ahead.
No, have you ever been in the audience of a pro wrestling event?
I have, and the audience is better than what's going on in the fucking ring.
Okay.
I have.
Um
And I have to give it that. The event itself, you're looking around the crowd and you're like, oh my God, look at these fucking people. Holy shit.
okay. And I'm gonna say this right now. You're at the event and and all of a sudden the fucking lights go out and you hear the gong and the Undertaker is
Oh, yeah.
like
Okay, I didn't
I'm
see The Undertaker, but yeah.
okay,
Love the
I'm
Undertaker.
talking like instant goosebumps,
Yeah.
Wow.
hard nipples. Like you are like it is
You were
like
turned on
like,
by this.
like
huh?
when they play
I wasn't
Renegade.
turned on.
Yeah.
Did you get,
Almost.
Were you
It'd
you
be better-
sunshine scarves for that event too, or
See, once again, like I said earlier, no matter if I'm negative or I'm
I know.
positive,
He always turns
people give
to
me shit.
extremes, doesn't he?
I'm
I
just
think
saying,
Vinny
this
has a
dude
great
is more
question.
skeptical. This dude is more skeptical than I am, and when he's like continually optimistic, I'm like, whoa,
I'm just
Yeah.
like
this
I
is
just
weird.
Vinny, great question. When will players like Troy and Ben get their jerseys retired? Now personally, I think Terry is
That's a
next.
slow roll, dude. I agree. I think Terry's next.
I think Terry's going to be next. I think it's
Lean
going to be
forward, Mark, so we can hear you.
I think it's going to be relatively soon for Terry in the next year or two. And then I would probably guess Jack Lambert,
Jack or Jack
Ham.
Yeah. We talked about this a few years ago with the Franco thing too, and
Right.
as much as you hate to say it, like these guys are getting old and having health problems. Like they should do it before they die.
And that's
Like-
exactly what I'm getting at, Ian. I'm
Yeah.
hoping they do it year after year after year so we can get to these guys because
Yeah.
Terry's mid-70s, Jack is early 70s. So I agree.
Yeah.
I hope that's the case. Ben and Troy both will be retired. There's no question about it. In fact, I think both have already kind of had the unofficial retirement. You'll notice that 43 and 7 have not been issued since both have been gone.
Yeah.
Much in the same way they've done with 32 and 58. But
in my opinion,
12.
Sorry, guys.
And I was gonna say I'd add Mel Blunt into that with
Yes.
Lynn.
Yes.
I think Bradshaw's the easy next one, and then
Yeah.
after that it's either Well, I mean, you could throw Webster in there too, but it's
Oh,
probably
jeez.
it's probably Ham, Lambert, Webster, or Blunt are probably the next group.
It could be Blunt simply because he's so active still with the community, the team.
Man.
You know,
I think you got to go Webster before any of those guys.
you might be right.
Before Terry?
I think Terry goes next. I really
think
do.
Terry goes next.
Yeah. Or maybe you put Terry and Webster in at the same time. You
I
know?
would say that if you do multiples, Webster should be included in one of them. Be part of one of them.
I agree with you. Webby was a really, really good player for a long time, led the offensive line. Yeah. I mean, so I would say, I mean, candidates for it, there are a bunch. I would say for sure Mel Blunt, Webster. I think Terry Bradshaw goes next. I agree.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't think either one of the wide receivers. I don't think that Swan or Stallworth get retired, although they were great players. I still think that John Stallworth was the best wide receiver that ever played for the Steelers, and if he played in this era now, he would still be amazing.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
The problem is, yeah.
I mean, the eras are so different.
Right.
So,
totally. I mean, you could beat the shit out of wide receivers all the way down the field.
Yeah.
Which is why Lynn Swann doing all those acrobatics and getting the separation he got in that era was amazing.
We have a question.
One other thing too, with Swan and Stallworth, like they've given out those numbers again to other players,
right?
You know,
yeah.
And part of me too is like,
but part of it was they took 16 votes to get in.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, just with the giving out numbers thing for so long, wide receivers could only wear numbers in the 80s.
Correct.
So you were kind of limited on well, shit, we can only give out, there's only so many numbers to give out. So, but I think, I don't think Swan and Stallworth get their numbers retired.
No, I agree with you.
No,
but I do think that Webster and Bradshaw and
here's
Mel
one.
Blunt and maybe the linebackers, maybe.
What about Rocky?
No.
Now I say Rocky only not because of his stats or anything like that. He not,
he won't even make the Hall of Honor, Mark. No.
You don't think he'll make the Hall of Honor?
He'll get.
Oh, isn't he already in the Hall of Honor?
Wait.
I don't believe so.
Oh, I thought he was. I think you just look at his overall story and everything.
I mean, he had 1,000-yard season.
Yeah.
So
the
overall story is great, but he just wasn't. He just wasn't.
I agree with you.
He
just wasn't a great player.
He is
a couple.
Yeah. I thought he was in that first year.
His second year, 2018. He got
second year. Okay.
Rocky going to the Hall of Honor?
Yeah.
I
got
think
4 rings.
The 4 rings.
But I this is a guy who was a good player, and had a couple of really good seasons, but he's never been a Hall of Fame type.
You're absolutely
foundational type, organizational type changing guy like a Joe Green.
No,
not even close.
No, I agree with that. I just was looking at the entire picture of what.
I mean, they retired Ernie Stotner's number because everyone else was retiring numbers, and they needed somebody to retire, and so they looked at like their greatest player, and it was Ernie Stotner.
Yeah,
I mean, if it was after all the Super Bowls in the 70s, they'd have been like, yeah, no, we're not retiring Ernie's number.
Right.
I hate to be a dick, but Connor Hayward wearing 83 is a fucking joke to me.
Are you saying that because Heath Miller had it?
No, because Kobe Hamilton had it, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're right.
Hey, Kobe had some nice plays, man.
He had some really amazing preseason plays.
Kobe Hamilton has more career touchdowns than Connor Hayward.
That's true.
Kobe Hamilton, AFC Championship.
Yeah,
Connor's
he's
been in the league.
touchdown, and
Connor's been in the league for 2 years, so let's cut him a little slack.
We do have one final question here.
Final? Why is it final?
Because nobody else is asking questions. What's your favorite TV show? I believe Aaron suggested that Ben's is The Bachelor.
And I responded.
Oh, you
to
did?
that. I did. I said, and it wasn't Aaron. It was Steelers Freak who suggested it was The Bachelor.
Oh.
And I would just tell you guys, my ex made me watch The Bachelor. I didn't want to. And
Bachelor.
that is some quality entertainment. They take 30 women with emotional issues, ply them with alcohol, give them a bunch of alcohol, and say, this is your target, this man over here. There are 30 of you and one of him. It is a total shit show. I did not have any interest at all. I laughed my fucking ass off. I'm dead serious. I am so serious when I tell you this. And yeah, it was only fun for the first handful of episodes, and then they tried to make it real. Which
of course.
I was like, but the first handful of episodes, when they're all like bickering and drunk and stupid, oh my God, it is so much fun. It is so fun. I recommend the first handful of episodes each season. Every guy should watch that and laugh their asses off, especially if they're in a relationship, because it will just appall the woman that they're with.
That's fascinating.
That
I
we
never
think
thought
it's
I'd
funny.
hear that from you. Yeah.
Dude, it is so funny. It is so funny. My ex got mad. She was actually like, the trashier this gets, you didn't even want to watch it. And the trashier this gets, the more you like it. And I'm like, well, yeah.
Yeah, well, us old guys have dark souls like that, you know.
Best band you ever saw live.
Well, that's easy for me, but Scarps, best band you ever saw live? It's a great question.
It is.
Wait, what happened to TV shows?
Wait, Ian wants to answer this.
That's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
you can't.
Best band you ever saw live, Scarpino.
All right. Well, Ryan thinks mine was Springsteen.
Yeah, go ahead.
So go ahead.
Yours was what? Carbon Leaf?
No, Springsteen. I've seen Springsteen 3 times.
The boss.
Yeah,
All right,
and every show
3
is amazing.
times.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Scarpino.
Well, Ben's just going to say Dave Matthews, so.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
That's fun. It's really fun.
Yeah.
But no, not the best show I ever saw live.
Yeah, best show I ever saw live. I saw, and I wish David Gilmour was there, but I saw Roger Waters do the entire wall in Pittsburgh in 2010, and that was fucking awesome, man. And Roger Waters such as a total asshole, but like, my God, he was so good, and the band he had with him was just so good, and the wall means a lot to me. So that was probably my favorite show.
Okay, great choice. And Ian, you said Springsteen.
Yeah.
And so Ben, what about you?
And you guys are going to be surprised by this. I just kind of went to this show kind of on a lark, and I was like, whatever, fine, should be good. Neil Young.
Really?
And I would go see that show. Like if he were playing somewhere within a few hour drive, I would go again.
Shit.
He was fucking amazing. It was such a good show. I cannot tell you. Worst show I ever saw. Mark's is going to love this. It was so disappointing. They fucking sucked. I was like, who the hell are these guys? The Rolling Stones. They were fucking terrible. They were terrible. Yes. Saw them in 91 and the
Steel
LA
Wheels
Coliseum.
Had to have been.
Let me see. Rage Against the Machine opens. Then Guns N' Roses comes out, right?
Oh, man.
Right? So you got Rage, Guns, and they both fucking killed it. And then the Stones come out, and it's just the Stones on stage. They don't have any of the stuff for the pyrotechnics or whatever. It's just Mick doing his thing. And I'm just like, first they sounded like shit. He couldn't sing in tune anymore. And I was just like, who the fuck are these guys? What the hell is this?
Interesting.
I flew here for this? This is fucking bullshit.
I saw the Stones in '94 Voodoo Lounge tour. at the Pontiac Silverdome. And they were great at that time. They had
does this still
the
exist?
Silverdome is now basically nothing. It literally the dome is gone, but the seats are all still there. It's really weird. It's like a ghost town. It's crazy.
So the structure's still there, but the dome is gone.
Correct. Yep. It's very bizarre. But the best show I ever saw actually was Metallica here in Kalamazoo. They took a break. I think it was Wherever I May Roam tour is what they were calling it. They took a little break and then they came back and they played at our Little Wing Stadium, which is like 5,000 people. And the reason they did is because Jason Newsted is from right down the road here.
Okay.
And it was the very first show that they had cut their hair. And nobody knew.
That was what, 95? Was that the low?
Yeah, it was like 92.
Okay, yeah, that was between the Black Album and Low.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because the big video board comes up and they're showing, like, you can see all their black boots and stuff, and they start rising the camera and they all kind of look into the camera and everybody's like, who the hell is that? You know, and they all come out with their short hair and everybody's like, holy shit. And of course, a bunch of stoners ran out immediately and got their hair cut short.
Yeah.
It was great. They were fun.
Metallica's a fun show.
It is. It was great. They take a lot of shit these days because they've gotten kind of soft, and that's fine. But they're
whatever. I saw Metallica again in the early '90s.
Early stuff was amazing.
That co-headliner show with Guns N' Roses.
Oh yeah.
Oh, in Montreal
got lit on fire.
I saw them in Phoenix, and they were first. And then, like 2 hours later, Guns decided to come out because Axl was being a fucking diva. And they were good too, but Metallica put on a really good show.
Yeah. BattleBots, by the way, is sneaky good. Ian was mentioning. There is something about watching
BattleBots
machines destroy each other. It really is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is absolutely my favorite show. I'm getting another beer, but that is absolutely my favorite show on television right now.
Taking it with us. I love it when Ian does this. He takes us with us as he grabs a beer.
Right. He's over at
a tour of the McMeans household.
McMeans house from the couch to the tap.
Yeah. Watching robots destroy each other is
I've also seen, truth be told, I've seen Hank Williams Jr. about 5 times too. So.
I have not seen Hank Jr. I want to see him. I have seen Hank. I saw Hank 3 once.
Was that in his country or his crazy rap day?
No. It's either country or metal. And
that's right.
It was country, but it's not your typical country.
No, it's out there.
I saw
it's out there.
I'll say this: the best deal I ever got for a concert was I got $5 lawn tickets to see a combo show of Kansas, Styx, and Foreigner out at the pavilion in Burgettstown, whatever it is. Starlake.
I'm sorry, $5. That's an amazing show.
It's Starlake again.
It's Starlake again, yeah. But $5 for those 3 bands, I was like, this is a steal. I was like, I have to go to this show.
I agree.
It was amazing.
I know Ben's not crazy about the Styx.
Styx sucks.
You know,
I saw Robert Randolph and the Family Band at Stage AE in Pittsburgh in 2019. And it was a free show for fans to show up because it was the 100th anniversary of the NFL. And so the Steelers paid them to play at Stage AE, and like 150 people showed up. And I was like, wow, this is some fucking bullshit. But they still came out and killed it because they're professionals. They played an amazing fucking show. And I was like, okay, well, this is, wow. You talk about a great show, unexpected show, no lines for beers.
Those are just the best.
All the space in the world.
Yeah.
No ticket price. You just walk up and go, hey, I'm a Steelers fan. Can I get in? Yeah, sure.
That's cool.
My drunkest crowd I ever saw was at a Jimmy Buffett concert at PNC Park.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember we had seats up behind like where home plate should be because the stage was out in the outfield. So they were great seats. Like you could see the stage and you could see the city behind them.
Right.
we're walking to our seats before the show, and I'm probably like either like end of high school or beginning of college. So like, 18, 19, 20 years old, somewhere in that time frame. There was this lady who was definitely older than my mom. Like she was definitely in her like late 50s or early 60s. Had a police officer carrying her under either arm, walking at a 45-degree angle. Like her body literally made a 45-degree angle with the ground. And the only thing holding her up were these two cops. In the upper deck of PNC Park, I was like, first, it's before the show. Second, how did you get up here if you're that drunk? Third, and of course, wearing a coconut bra and all that stuff. I was like, this is the oldest, drunkest person I've ever seen. I never want to see this again. But it was a fun show. Nuts, those people the Buffett people are nuts.
Yeah, I've never seen a band that any of you heard of. And that, what is Aaron talking about? I think Aaron's drinking.
Yeah.
I've never seen a band that any of you have heard of, and that's okay. So, Ian's a huge fan of the Carbon Leaf. Aaron,
Carbon Leaf is a lot of fun.
You probably like them because you're from Ohio. And
yeah, I would not know Carbon Leaf.
I'm just saying, people in Ohio like shitty bands, so they probably will know Carbon Leaf.
Sounds like a sustainability initiative.
All right, I'm going to turn it over here to the late great.
Oh yeah, awesome, we're like an hour and a half in.
Casey Kasem.
We should do an overtime show.
I got one more week of work, and then we can do as many as you want. So
one more week of work.
2 weeks from now, we can do overtime.
There you go. What's that?
You still have kids?
I do. One more week. I got final exams next week. I got senior awards tomorrow. So
do an overtime with Mark off the show again.
I can easily arrange that.
Oh, fuck. Aaron talking about Dr. Acula.
Yeah, I
sounds like a Mitch Hedberg. It is a Mitch Hedberg.
It is a Mitch Hedberg joke.
Don't go see Dr. Acula.
Woe is me. Beartooth sucks donkey balls.
Oh, for God's sake.
Sleep Theory. Attila. I see stars.
All right. Casey, you are up.
Holy shit. Casey Coast to Coast. This is starting off great. American Top Footy. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the week that was May 30th, 1989. Our favorite correspondent, Ryan, is back with us again this week, and he writes, Dear Casey, she thinks my tractor's sexy. It really turns her on. She's always staring at me while I'm chugging along. Casey, that's, of course, Kenny Chesney, who makes his return to the stadium formerly known as Heinz Field this Saturday.
Oh.
I'm not sure you know this, Casey, but when Kenny Chesney comes to town, he brings the worst of the worst from the tri-state area. There's tens of thousands of pairs of cowboy boots and Daisy Dukes, but only 100 teeth between them. Casey, the only time I've seen more trash on Art Rooney Avenue is when Kenny Pickett was playing quarterback.
There was a bus and Kenny wasn't getting out of the way.
Speaking of Kenny Pickett, just when I thought the Picketologists would follow in their Lord and Savior's footsteps and just quit, they were once again active on the platform formerly known as Twitter. Day in and day out, they're on there crapping on the Steelers and mocking current players, all because their tiny hands, tiny brain, no balls leader quit on the team and then demanded a trade when they brought in competition at quarterback. But there they are, mocking Russell Wilson and Justin Fields for taking their offensive line out to dinner. Kind of reminds me of what Ben Roethlisberger did for years. Pickett would never. The closest he came to doing this was the night before the Buffalo Bills playoff game when he charged $1,000 of room service to Mason Rudolph's room. They were even going after Joey Porter Jr. and Zach Frazier. I wonder why that is, Casey. Could it be because they didn't go to a certain school that shares a facility and stadium with the Steelers? Hell, Casey, I even saw this one jagoff say that they hope the Pittsburgh media runs Troy Fuatanu out of town as quick as they did Pickett. And you told me it wasn't a cult. Casey, Troy Fuatanu could have a career like Dan Moore Jr., and that would still be 100 times better than anything Kenny Pickett will ever do. Casey, I refuse to let these Picketologists brainwash any more people. I won't back down. Well, Ryan, until then, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. And keep your radio tune where it is. Up 10 spots this week to number 22. Here's Tom Petty off his debut solo album, Full Moon Fever, which featured many of the Heartbreakers. But it's not Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers because I'm pretty sure he was pissed off at his drummer, Stan Lynch. Anyway, here's I Won't Back Down.
Well done, Ryan.
Well done. We got a reference to Stan Lynch tonight. Holy shit! Just when
Did you?
heard it all.
So did you? So in 1994, like Tom Petty was the musical guest on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And do you know who the drummer was for that performance? It was Dave Grohl.
No shit.
And the reason why it was Dave Grohl is because Tom Petty fired Stan Lynch like the night of the show, some shit like that. True story.
That's awesome. I mean, that would have been like at the height of Nirvana.
It was 94. It was after Kirk died, but it was
Okay.
Yeah, it was after that. It was Foo Fighters. So
yeah,
Dave
but
was just there.
Okay.
And
Ben
he
knows
was
that
like,
story.
"Yeah, sure, I'll sit in and play drums with you."
It was Petty's Wildflowers album.
That's right. That's right. Oh my God.
Hey,
Hey everyone.
and it was just music.
Thanks so much for 90 minutes of Steelers fun and complete off the rails frivolity. Make sure you check out the website, steelcityblitz.com. Make sure you subscribe too on the YouTube channel. We love our regulars. We love all of you for tuning in at your own leisure.
Please like and subscribe.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
Like and subscribe, as the kids say. And hey, go Steelers.
Ravens suck, donkey balls.
Fuck the Browns. Actually,
Yeah,
fuck all of
goddamn
Cleveland.
right.